Herodotus, this book, the Histories, published by Every Man's Library. It was translated by George Rawlinson in 1910. Herodotus is investigating why a particular oracle exists in both Libya and in Greece. He is talking to Dodonians who are telling him a story about how those two oracles came to be. This is the story. Two black doves flew away from the Egyptian Thebes, and while one directed his flight to Libya, the other came to them. She alighted on an oak, and sitting there began to speak with a human voice, and told them that on the spot where she was, there should thenceforth be an oracle of Jove. They understood the announcement to be from heaven, so they set to work at once and erected the shrine. The dove which flew to Libya bade the Libyans to establish the oracle of Ammon. This likewise is an oracle of Zeus. The persons from whom I received these particulars were three priestesses of the Dodonians. I'm not going to name the priestesses because they're complicated names. Also, I'm just going to skip down. The Dodonians called the women doves because they were foreigners and seemed to them to make a noise like birds. After a while, the dove spoke with a human voice, because the woman whose foreign talk had previously sounded to them like the chattering of a bird acquired the power of speaking what they could understand. For how can it be conceived possible that a dove should really speak with the voice of a man? Lastly, by calling the dove black, the Dodonians indicated that the woman was an Egyptian. I have now jumped ahead to page 174. There can be no doubt that the Colchians are an Egyptian race. Before I heard any mention of the fact from others, I had remarked it myself. After the thought had struck me, I made inquiries on the subject both in Colchis and in Egypt. And I found that the Colchians had a more distinct recollection of the Egyptians than the Egyptians had of them. Still, the Egyptians said that they believed the Colchians to be descended from the armies of Sesostris. My own conjectures were founded, first, on the fact that they are black-skinned and have woolly hair, which certainly amounts to but little, since several other nations are so too, but further and more especially on the circumstance that the Colchians, the Egyptians, and the Ethiopians are the only nations who have practiced circumcision from the earliest times. Herodotus, the Histories. Not trying to brag or anything, but I have an iPad. If you are looking for any of these books, the easiest path is to go to iBooks. iBooks has all these great classics. I am going to read from Aristotle. Aristotle was Alexander the Great's teacher, and let's see what he has to say about the Egyptians. Too black a hue marks the coward, as witnessed Egyptians and Ethiopians, and so does also to a white complexion, as you may see from women. Not only is that sexist, but it's also accurate on the race of the Egyptians. So this next book I'm going to read from is Aeschylus, and I'm probably mispronouncing his name, but he wrote a number of plays. This particular play that I'm reading from that deals with the Egyptians is called the Suppliants. It was written in 463 BC, and it is a play that concerns the daughters of Danaus, founder of Argos. They are trying to flee forced marriage from their cousins in Egypt. So this is a play again, and this is Danaus speaking, talking about the Egyptians, or Egyptus invasion. From my post of lookout, here on the sanctuary of Suppliants, I see that ship, for it is well marked and does not escape me. The trimming of its sails, its side guards, and the prow with its eyes scan its onward course, obeying all too well for those to whom it is unfriendly. The guiding rudder at the stern. The men on board are plainly seen, their black limbs showing from their white attire. This next work is from Lucian, and this is what he says about an Egyptian boy. As for this fellow, to say nothing of his dark skin and protruding lips and spindled shanks, his words came out tumbling out in a heap, one on top of the other. It was Greek, of course, but the voice, the accent, were Egyptian born. So the reason why I wanted to read these works by these Greek writers is because they're very well-kept secrets. They're very well-kept secrets that are actually easy to find, but whatever. The powers that be, the National Geographics, the History Channel, BBC, the Discovery Channel, etc., they will never, ever discuss these writings because it directly contradicts their Aryan version of the Egyptians, or whatever, the Mediterranean version of the Egyptians. And that's pretty much it.